Fandom can help marketers get to the center of pop culture because we are the center of pop culture. So we reach 350 million people every month, and those people traverse 300,000 different communities of every movie, TV show, and video game ever produced on the planet, with a level of depth and detail you really can't get anyplace else. And so because of this, we have this amazing vantage point of pop culture, and it's always changing all the time. And so for a marketer, it's all about really finding the right moments that matter to them, whether it's big moments. We talk about tentpole moments. These are like the biggest movies that are coming up or game launches that are coming up. But there's stuff that's changing all the time. And so because we see everything, we can really help marketers align to the key moments that drive pop culture. And most importantly, Gen Z, right? Gen Z is the topic of every marketer's priority, and they're very hard to reach. But they care a lot about entertainment and gaming, so that's what we do.
So what is it about Gen Z and moment-based strategies? And does that also maybe apply to other demographics as well?
So I think the most important thing to know about Gen Z is they really are defined by their passions, not necessarily their profile, right? And so, Gen Z will say that marketers that prioritize their passions, they're way more receptive to those marketers than anybody else. And so, we're top 5 for Gen Z in the US. I don't think many people know that. And because we see all Gen Z interest all the time with pop culture, and it's constantly changing, that's really how we help marketers, because it's always through their Gen Z's passion.
Well, Gen Z also tends to have maybe a little bit more skepticism. Maybe it's just younger people always. But in terms of being able to tap into Gen Z's passions as fans, how can you make that connection to brands? And do you have to walk a tightrope in making that happen?
So brands will always have, fixed moments that they care about the most. Could be back to school, could be holiday, certain times of year that really matter to them. Well, there's also key moments in entertainment, in gaming, that align to those time periods, right? And so whether it's a big movie launch, whether it's a big game launch, but also different shows, different games trend all the time. And a lot of times you don't know what's going to happen. And so our ability to help marketers connect to those key moments based on sort of the fixed and fluid time periods that they care about is really, our power.
Well, tell me a little bit more about Fandom's power to make those deep connections between Gen Z, fandom itself, and brands.
Yeah, so we have a product called FanDNA Helix, and data is really, when it comes down to it, our superpower. And so this is what FanDNA Helix brings to life. So we have, I mentioned we have 350 million people that come to our platform every month. We have 60 million pages of content, and all of the activity and all of the different communities that these users traverse leads to a lot of data. And so what we've been able to do is we've been able to leverage AI, build out our data platform to get to things like genre, subgenre, and most importantly, theme. Sort of like the motivation behind why people like certain things. So for example, this summer, the big movie coming out, Fantastic Four, okay? One of the big themes of why people like it is friendship. You wouldn't always know that. Mortal Kombat, big video game coming up this fall. One of the big themes that drives that is nostalgia. And so once you understand sort of like why, it can help in creative messaging, it can help in all sorts of ways, but most importantly, it helps marketer really connect to the passion of Gen Zers.
Well, in terms of a lot of the conversations around the use of AI in an advertising marketing context is about efficiency. And how do you get past that? How do you help marketers get past just that focus that, oh, this will save on time and costs, and as opposed to also providing a lift to creativity?
Yeah, so, I think most people, when they think about leveraging data, it always starts with, okay, I want to do better targeting. But I don't think many people realize that creative is even more impactful than just basic targeting. And it's when those two things come together that you really have the best performance and the best outcomes. So, we basically built the world's largest AI-powered ad platform for entertainment. And the whole idea is to help marketers connect to the key moments that make the most sense for what they're trying to achieve. So most marketers will have personas or mindsets or specific demographics that they're looking to connect to. What we'll do is we'll understand that. We'll be able to connect that to motivations and mindsets tied to any movie, any TV show, any video game. And through themes, then find ways to help with the messaging and the storytelling to really drive maximum impact.
So summer is always a great time for Fandom lowercase. What's going on this summer for Fandom uppercase?
Yeah. So this summer there are a ton of big moments. But the thing is, different moments matter differently to different audiences. So for example, Gen Z, they care a lot about Fantastic Four. That's going to be a huge movie launch this summer. But for parents, they're less interested in that. They care about things like The Bear. And so a marketer really needs to understand the different passion points by audience segment. And summer's a great time for that, but it's great for many different reasons for different types of audiences like Gen Z and parents.